Coco Gauff just said the one thing you aren't supposed to say about men's tennis, and the backlash is already out of control. Welcome to Net Court News. Here is the common belief. The ATP Tour, led by the new Big Two of Jannik and Carlos Alcaraz, is the gold standard of tennis, while the WTA is too volatile, too inconsistent, and lacks the star power of the men's game. That is the narrative we have been fed for 20 years. But here is the contrarian take that Gauff just put on the table. The ATP has actually become the boring tour, a predictable two-horse race with zero depth, while the WTA has quietly become the most exciting product in sports because of that very volatility. And if you think this is just Coco trying to hype up her own tour, I have the viewership numbers, the ticket sales data, and the ranking breakdowns that prove she isn't just throwing shade. She is stating a mathematical fact. In this video, we're going to answer 3 massive questions. First, what exactly did Gauff say about Sinner and Alcaraz that has the internet screaming disrespect? Second, does the actual television data support her claim that women's tennis is the superior product right now? And third, why is this specific rivalry between the Italian machine and the Spanish phenom failing to capture the public imagination the way Federer and Nadal did? We are breaking down the quotes, the stats, and the fallout. But before we get to the numbers that are going to make ATP diehards furious, let's look at the reality of the men's tour that Gauff was pointing out. This is the angle nobody wants to admit. According to Gauff's comments at the WTA finals in Riyadh earlier this month, the problem with the men's side isn't a lack of talent, it is a lack of drama. She explicitly noted that while Sinner and Alcaraz are great, the tour has become a snooze fest because you know exactly who was going to be in the final before the tournament even starts. She said, "I think it's better to have different champions than the same two. I'm thinking long-term it's more exciting for me as a fan watching the semis and quarters, not knowing who was going to win." This hits on a massive structural issue the ATP is facing in late 2025. We're coming off a season where Sinner and Alcaraz have effectively split the Grand Slams and the Masters 100s between them. The gap between world number 2 and world number 3 is now larger than the gap between number 3 and number 50. There was no big 3 anymore. There was a big 2 and then a massive vacuum. Gauff's argument is that the chaos of the WTA, where we've had 4 different Grand Slam champions this year, including herself, Sabalenka, and Swiatek, is actually a feature, not a bug. In the post-Serena era, we were told the WTA needed stability. Now that we have it in the form of a Swiatek-Sabalenka-Gauff triopoly, the narrative has shifted. Gauff is arguing that the WTA has struck the perfect balance. Dominant stars who lose just enough to keep the stakes high. Compare that to the ATP. When Sinner walks onto the court against anyone outside the top 5, the result feels like a foregone conclusion. It's efficient, it's brutal, and according to Coco Gauff, it's boring. The ATP has traded the golden era of the Big Three, where 3 legends pushed each other to the brink, to a duopoly where 2 young gods simply crush a field of players who, let's be honest, don't truly believe they can win. But if you think Gauff is just being biased, you need to see the receipts, because this is where the ATP is king argument completely falls apart. Let's look at the television ratings. This is the data the establishment doesn't like to talk about. If the ATP is so much more exciting, why are more people in the sport's biggest market watching the women? According to official ESPN viewership data from the last 2 US Opens, the women's final has consistently outperformed or rivaled the men's final. When Coco Gauff won her title in New York, that match drew 3.4 million viewers. Compare that to the men's final the following year, Jannik versus Taylor Fritz, which struggled to hit 1.8 million on traditional broadcasts, despite having an American man in a final for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Let that sink in. An American man fighting for a slam on home soil drew roughly half the audience of the American woman. The counter-argument is always the same. Oh, the men's final goes up against the NFL on Sunday. And sure, that is a valid scheduling conflict. But that excuse is running out of steam. The 2023 viewership data showed that even when you account for the NFL, the retention rate for the women's matches throughout the tournament was higher. Why? Because the storylines are better. Gauff's comment about not knowing who was going to win drives viewership. Uncertainty creates tension. Tension keeps you glued to the screen. When Iga Swiatek plays Ariana Sabalenka, it's a clash of styles, personalities, and genuine friction. You feel like anything can happen. When Sinner plays Fritz or Alcaraz plays Zverev, the market has already priced in the result. The casual fan, the person who drives those multi-million viewer ratings, is tuning out of the ATP because the script has become too predictable. Gauff isn't just offering an opinion here. She's reading the room. The Big Three era spoiled us because we had three distinct characters: the artist, Federer, the warrior, Nadal, and the villain, Djokovic. Right now, the ATP has two very nice, very respectful young men who hit the ball incredibly hard. It's impressive, but is it compelling TV? The numbers say no. The numbers say that the drama of the WTA, the coaching splits, the social media shade, and the genuine rivalries is winning the war for attention. Now let's pivot to the third critical point, the personality gap. This is the uncomfortable truth about the Sinner and Alcaraz rivalry that Gauff's comments inadvertently highlighted. We need to talk about the nice guy problem. In her press conference, Gauff was careful to say she respects what Carlos and Jannik are doing, but the subtext was clear. The WTA is currently fueled by high-stakes personality clashes. You have Daniel Collins' retirement tour drama, the mystery around Rybakina's coaching situation, and the intensity of Sabalenka's on-court roars versus Swiatek's clinical silence. These are characters. They have arcs. What is the arc for Jannik Sinner right now? He's a machine. He's efficient. He is, as the tennis world jokingly calls him, a fox. But efficiency doesn't sell tickets to the casuals. Alcaraz has the flair, absolutely. He's a highlight reel in human form. But a rivalry needs friction. Federer and Nadal had respect, but they had contrasting styles that represented a philosophical debate about how tennis should be played. Sinner and Alcaraz feel like two versions of the same hyper-modern baseline evolution. They're both incredible athletes, both incredible defenders, and both incredibly polite. Where is the heat? Where is the "I want to beat you because I don't like you" energy? Gauff's point about different champions isn't just about the names on the trophy, it's about the different types of tennis we get to see. In the WTA top 10, you have the power baseline game of Sabalenka, the crafty variety of Jabeur if healthy, the athletic defense of Gauff, and the spin-heavy domination of Swiatek. It's a tactical buffet. The ATP top 10 is slowly homogenizing. It's becoming a league of 6'4" big starvers with two-handed backhands who all play the same high-percentage patterns. It's optimized, yes, but is it entertainment? Gauff says no. She says that the unpredictability of the WTA draw, where a player like Jasmine Paolini can suddenly make two slam finals out of nowhere, is what makes sports worth watching. And here's the kicker. The money is starting to agree with her. For years, the argument against equal prize money was that the men bring in the revenue. But look at the sponsorship deals rolling in for 2025. Gauff herself is one of the highest paid female athletes on the planet, outpacing almost every man on the ATP tour outside of Alcaraz and Sinner. Brands are betting on the WTA because that is where the engagement is. Social media engagement rates for the WTA's viral moments, like the breakdown of the Pegula-Gauff doubles partnership or the controversy over late-night scheduling, consistently spike higher than standard ATP match highlights. We live in an attention economy, and right now the WTA is generating more weight. Did you see that? Moments per tournament than the men. Gauff's comments effectively put the ATP on notice. She's saying, we have the product, we have the viewers, and we have the drama. You guys just have two really good players. So what happens next? If the ATP wants to beat the boring allegations, they need the field to step up. They need a villain. They need someone to challenge the Sinner and Alcaraz hegemony, not just with tennis, but with personality. Until then, Gauff is right. The smart money for entertainment value is on the women's draw. But there is one danger in Gauff's take. The volatility she praises can sometimes look like inconsistency to the purists. The WTA still struggles with top seeds crashing out in the first round more often than the men. For the hardcore tennis fan, the stability of Sinner and Alcaraz is comforting. It guarantees high-quality tennis in the final weekend. But tennis cannot survive on hardcore fans alone. It needs the masses, and the masses want chaos. To wrap this up, Coco Gauff didn't just make a stray comment at a press conference. She exposed the biggest insecurity of the post-Big Three ATP Tour. She highlighted that while the men's level of play is sky high, the level of intrigue has cratered. The reality is we're watching a changing of the guard, not just in players but in power. The WTA has leveraged its personalities to bridge the gap. while the ATP is still searching for an identity outside of "we have the best two players in the world."
Coco Gauff's brutal honesty is exactly what the sport needed to hear. It is a wake-up call. If the men's tour wants to keep its premium status, it needs to find some new characters fast, because right now, the most exciting show in tennis is happening on the women's court, and the ratings prove it. That is the breakdown. Gauff said it, the stats back it, and now the debate is officially over. If you want to understand exactly how the ranking system rewards this kind of volatility versus the ATP's consistency, and why the point system might be changing in 2026 because of it, you need to watch our deep dive in the Tennis Playbook playlist right here. It explains the math behind the madness. Click that, and I'll see you there.